Paris, with its Eiffel Tower. I would paint it tonight. I so liked painting at night. But no, that life is over.
C'est décidément l'année Van Gogh, record. Van Gogh au sommet du marché de l'art. Plus de 82 millions de dollars pour le portrait du docteur Gachet, adjugé hier soir chez Christie's à New York.
1990, $82 million for one of my portraits of Dr. Gachet. Yet I had made just one sale during my lifetime. Now my paintings are in all the big museums. Here, at the Orsay Museum in Paris, there are about 20. People come from everywhere to see them, for the paintings and for the legend too. My painter's legend. Cut ear, a crazy man, one who committed suicide at the age of 37. And now, the most expensive painter of the world. Sometimes I wonder if most people aren't more interested in all that than in my painting. Hopefully, there are exceptions. He's different. His name is Peter Knapp. He's a photographer and a filmmaker. He's passionate about my painting. I like following him to the places where I used to paint, to Auvert and the others. I remember this picture. I was satisfied with it. The church, practically violet against the pure cobalt sky. The windows, just patches of ultramarine. The roof, violet and orange in places. I like her too. Her name is Ellen Bacchus. I noticed that women find me a lot more interesting since I died. I think I scared them off when I was alive. I was too nervous and tormented. Ellen's been working here for over a year, all alone in the basement of the Van Gogh Museum. The green boxes contain all my drawings, and in another room they have all my letters to my brother Theo, 900 letters. I wrote Theo almost every day. Every day she tries to find the reasons for my anxiety and troubled life, and I am very difficult to read. My writing is a mess, with no punctuation, in very broken French. Yes, when I began my life as a painter, I decided to write in French.
The double row of flowers is pink and green on one side, and orange with hardly any leaves on the other. In the midst, a dahlia, white, a little pomegranate.
Ellen works in a museum in Holland that's named after me. More than 1.5 million visitors every year. I spent the 2 last months of my life here, in Auvers-sur-Oise, north of Paris. I was buried here after only 37 years of life.
Ça tourne. Action!
Peter lives here too. I don't think it's a coincidence. He's making a film about me, about my painting. And I like following him when he goes to the places I lived and used to paint. I know this study well. My first work in Auvers. Writing to Theo, I told him that I found the village of Auvers very beautiful. Peter says he realized while filming my pictures that I painted the distant background at eye level. But I looked down on the foreground as if I was seeing it from above. As for the horizon, he noticed that I tended to set it very high within the frame. That makes for what he calls a wide-angle effect that draws the viewer into the picture and surrounds him.
My dear Theo, I just sent you 3 large drawings, as well as a few more smaller ones.
Theo, my brother. Far more than my brother. Sometimes, when I was painting those pictures, I felt we were doing them together. I could never have painted them without Theo. Theo was an art dealer. He made a good living. He allowed me to devote myself entirely to my art. He sent me money, canvas, paper, tubes of paint, everything I needed to paint, to work. That was our agreement. And I produced. I felt driven to do good work. Usually I included a sketch of painting in progress in the letters I sent Theo. Then when the picture was finished, I sent it to him. And then I moved on. I set another canvas on the easel. That's what I was here for, you see? I was on this earth to paint right till the end. And in less than a century, I became a myth, when all I wanted was to become a painter. Don't think it was easy. I spent a long time finding my way. Me, the Dutchman, the preacher's son. When I was only 16, I became an art dealer in Amsterdam, London and Paris. Then I became a preacher, like my father, in Belgium. I used to preach to the destitute, to miners and laborers. I talked to them and read them the Bible. I enjoyed it, because I like people. But it didn't last. They thought I was overzealous. They thanked me and told me to go on my way. So I did the one thing I could do, the one thing I really wanted to do deep down. I drew, and I drew. I was 27 by then. I varied my approaches. At first I copied works by artists I admired, Millet especially. Yes, I copied Millet a lot. Then I took the plunge. I began painting in oils. Pictures didn't just come to me at first. I worked in a very academic way. I did multiple studies to come to grips with my subject. I was moving on, step by step. But color, which made me famous later on, was still a long way off. I was still seeing darkly. In 1886, I joined Theo in Paris. I was 32 years old. I had been painting almost constantly for 4 years then. 4 years and already more than 200 paintings. And it's here, in Paris, that I made the discovery that was going to change my life. I discovered color. And I started to apply the famous theory of complementary color by Charles Blanc. Blanc says that to heighten colors, we must use them with their complement. Yellow and violet are complementary, and so are blue and orange, green and red. I wrote to Theo, if a stroke of red is surrounded by green, the red will become more intense and the painting will find a natural equilibrium, even if it wasn't in the composition. I was searching. I wanted to move forward. His father, Tanguy. I'm glad to see him again. He's the one who sold the paint Theo used to send me. I painted him twice, against the background of a Japanese print. Japanese art was our passion. Japan had been closed off and isolated for so long. The Japanese word we found was delicate and precise. And so much about simplicity. That's what I needed, a lot of color and drawing. No smooth surfaces, just brush strokes. Yes, I painted like I drew. And I remember I was overjoyed. I had found my path at last. I was in my painting.
My dear friend.
No, come on, not that letter. I know Helen wants to understand, but she shouldn't read what I crossed out. I only kept this letter for the drawing on the back. I didn't mean for people to read it.
My dear friend, write to my brother to tell him to keep my paintings at their original price, rather than selling them off cheap.
Helen tries to figure everything out. Did I tell you that Helen and Peter knew each other? She tells Peter about what she's discovered, or thinks she's discovered, in my letters. The things I crossed out, the art market, it all fascinates her. The price of paintings, who cares, really? All right. I told Theo I didn't want my pictures to be sold cheaply. I'd rather they weren't sold at all than have their prices lowered. With my painter friends, I used to talk about painting, work, color, Gauguin, Signac, Toulouse-Lautrec. I met them all in Paris with Theo. They were carrying the Impressionist torch. They all told me about the south of France and the light you get there and the joy of basking in that light.